Hi, I'm Martha Beaudry, Realtor with Boulevard Realty. Been serving Houston for over 20 years. Welcome to my home buyer series. Today, we're going to talk about inspections. So you are probably getting ready to buy a house or thinking about buying a house, or maybe you're starting the process and you've already put in a contract and you're just kind of doing a little bit of research on your own regarding inspections. That's a really good question. It's good to know about them. So let's just get started and jump right in and tell you about inspections. So why do we have them? Well, sometimes that answer isn't so obvious, but for the most part, sometimes the house you're thinking about buying may just be lipstick on a pig. And you have to look at it. You have to look at it closely. You have to think about what it is that you're getting. You may be looking at a property with leaky pipes, or there might be moisture behind the walls. The air conditioner may be really old, and you can determine the age of an air conditioner by looking at the serial number. That's what I do when I am helping my clients determine how old an AC may be. You can actually get that information that way. Water heater may have issues, and there could be other problems, but those are the big ticket items. And, look, this is a very expensive purchase that you're making, and you want to make sure that you are not getting into a money pit. Sellers are required to fill out a seller's disclosure and disclose everything on their property. And for the most part, they're very good about it. I haven't really come across anybody that has, intentionally not disclosed something. Sometimes things happen that the seller's not aware of. So that's why you have an inspection. You don't want to just decide by eyeballing a house that it's a good house and ready to go and put all your money down. Have it inspected. So who should do your inspection? So it really does depend on whether or not your purchase is new construction or if it's a resale. If it's new construction, something that I can tell you is happening is that city inspectors and engineers are inspecting that thing throughout its build. When the foundation is poured, an engineer comes in and looks at it. When the frame has been put up, an engineer and city inspectors come in and look at it. So those things are supposed to be happening as it's being built. But when it's done and you're ready to purchase this thing, you may want to have a general overview. Everything is new, but sometimes builders might miss something or make a mistake. So when you hire an inspector, they will help develop what's called a punch list. They'll go through the house and they'll take a look at things and they'll help create a punch list that you're then going to give to the builder. And then the builder will, address all the items on that punch list before you close. Whether or not you feel like your inspector should have an engineer's license is up to you. I can't advise either way, but usually if it's new construction, it's going to be pretty sound and a general inspection will do. But that's something that you want to talk to your realtor about and research and see if you really want an engineer as an inspector. So if it's older construction, depending on, the condition of the house, that may be a situation where you might want to have a general inspector who is also a licensed engineer. So that's completely up to you, whether or not you have a licensed engineer to inspect your property. That oftentimes depends on how old the property is and the overall condition. And sometimes in the cases, an engineer is needed to confirm the stability of a structure, especially if it's looking kind of funny or you think you might be seeing some structural issues. You'll want to have an engineer come in and look at that. I think I sold a house where we had an inspector that was an engineer, just double check that the balcony on the house was secure and done properly. So it's really up to you, and I would have a conversation with your realtor, discuss with your realtor some of the concerns you have with the specific house you want to buy, and then determine whether or not it makes sense to hire an inspector with that's also an engineer. So what exactly does an inspection cover? So here's what you need to understand first and foremost. A general inspection is just that, a general inspection. An inspector's going to come in and he's going to look at this house from foundation to roof and everything in between, but it's an overall inspection. And what they'll do is they may point out things that they see. Usually they'll use a drone, for example, that goes over the roof of the house. And if they notice some shingles that maybe look like they need to be replaced, or if they notice nails popping up, or they notice flashing isn't the way it should be, then they will probably recommend that you have a roofer come out and inspect that house. So they are really just doing an overall general inspection of the home. They're licensed in Texas, the ones who think we're here in Texas. So they're licensed by the Texas Real Estate Commission, and they're insured and bonded. So you want to pick an inspector from that is licensed, and there's a list that we'll get into that later. But at any rate, they're just doing a general inspection, and they're letting you know that if they'll let you know if something else needs to be looked at. And look, sometimes an inspector will tell you if you should walk away from a house, and I am totally open to that. And I have had inspectors look at my clients and shake their head and say, this is not a home I would recommend that you buy. Sometimes clients listen and sometimes they don't, but I definitely welcome that if an inspector tells my client, walk away from this house. So what are you looking for? All right, so I will tell you that when you have an inspection on a house, it is a long list of items that the inspector is looking at. They're looking at code issues. They're looking to see if the soil is too close to the house because it could be conducive to termites. They're looking for GFCI outlets. They're just looking for everything. I mean, it's just all over. And it can be very intimidating when you get that report because it's a lot of stuff and you're not an expert. So you're feeling like, oh my God, so many things on this report. What do I do? So what I recommend is that you focus on the big ticket items. The air conditioning, HVAC, the roof, the foundation, plumbing, electric, and termites. Those are the big items. If you have to replace an entire HVAC system in your home, that could be up to $16,000 if it includes duct work. Your roof, if that roof needs to be replaced, that could be another $10,000, $12,000, $13,000 repair. Foundation work. So the interesting thing about foundation work is that when you have a slab and you have to do a major adjustment on that slab, pipes go through that slab, and a lot of times pipes have to be addressed at the same time. So foundation repair that is not pier and beam can be very expensive. I've seen a basic foundation repair where the foundation itself is only about $7,000 or $8,000 turn into a $14,000 or $15,000 repair because pipes were involved. So foundation can be expensive. Plumbing leaks. You want those discovered because it's not just the leaks, it's the moisture that's developed behind the walls. And if it's galvanized pipes, that's a real big issue now because galvanized pipes, they were putting that in back in the 60s, 50s, and 40s. So those pipes today are like at least 60 years old, right? So they're giving in. It's getting to the point that these freezes that are having here in Houston, they're really impacting these galvanized pipes. So that's another thing you want to consider. If there are galvanized pipes in the house, that can be an expensive replacement. Electricity, obviously, that's really important because of electric issues can set your house on fire or hurt somebody. So really right now, the big issues that they're looking at when they're looking at your electric is your box, the panel, making sure that it's the right panel. There are some electric panels out there that are no longer accepted in the industry, and your insurance company may not insure your home if you have them. So you'll want to make sure that your electric is in good shape. That actually doesn't necessarily have to be an expensive repair, um, but they're important repairs. So you can have outlets replaced or fixed or repaired and things like that. It's not a super expensive thing to request, but doing it can save you a lot of money in the long run. And then, of course, termites. Termites can do a lot of damage. Subterranean termites are not the same as drywood termites. Obviously, termites are termites and you don't want them, but drywood termites, they live in smaller colonies and they are slower at doing damage, but subterranean termites are very, very large colonies and they do a lot of damage pretty quickly. So you want to make sure that you have a termite inspection with your inspection, because that's an important thing to catch. How much do they cost? Well, the cost of inspection really does depend on what you need. So if you do want an engineer, an inspector with an engineering license, that's going to cost you a little bit more money. If you have a swimming pool that you need to have inspected, that's going to cost you a little bit more money. So, I mean, look, this is 2024 and prices are going up, but right now for general inspection, you're looking at anywhere between $400 and $800. Just depends on what you need. Your termite inspection, excuse me, is not part of the general inspection. It has to be added. A lot of times they'll do them all at the same time. So, but you have to request the termite inspection, and you need, when you make your general inspection, most inspectors will give you the option of having a termite inspection at the same time as their general inspection. I suggest that you do it at the same time. But then if you need a specialized inspection afterwards, like I mentioned, that sometimes an inspector will say, hey, you need to have that roof looked at, or you need to have the AC looked at, or get that plumbing looked at. That is a specialized inspection, and those will be, charged as you do them. Some people don't charge for those. Some plumbers don't, some AC people don't. If you have a realtor that's helping you out with this, more than likely they have these subject matter experts that will waive the cost. I know that mine do it all the time. So, but anyway, but you may be charged. So just know that there may be charged for those. And then here's a really good resource for Houston area inspectors. It's at the www.HAREI, Houston Area Real Estate Inspectors. And they have a list of inspectors. They have a list of inspectors that are engineers. I think they even have some subject matter experts on their list, and they have them separated for our residential and commercial. So very, very good and useful website. I share that with my clients all the time. So handling the issues on your inspection report. So once you get your report, you're going to share it with your agent, and you want to discuss the report with your agent. Your agent is key here, because they're going to help you, deal with all of these emotions that you're dealing with at this report. Because again, it's coming back to the fact that this is a very expensive item that you're purchasing, and this inspection report can be scary. So your realtor will be able to, walk you off the edge of the cliff here. If you see things on that list that you want to have a closer look at, then you want to get advice from subject matter experts. If you're a new first-time home buyer, you may want to share that report with mom and dad. I have home buyers all the time that are first-time home buyers that solicit the advice from their parents. That is perfectly good. If needed, if you want to see how much it's going to cost for something to be repaired, you want to, when you have the subject matter experts go in, like AC guy or plumbing or whatever, they'll go in, they'll take a closer look at the issue, and then they'll let you know how much it will cost to repair it. Once you've done all of that, once you've looked at everything and you've found out what everything is going to cost, you want to create your list of repairs. and you want to have all your quotes and everything involved. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to list those from your most important to your least important. You may not get everything on your wish list. So if you put it in order of importance, then you might be able to get like the first 3 or 4 items on the list, but not the last 6 or whatever, you know. So just put them in that order. And then your realtor will be able to present that to the sellers in such a way to maximize those results. They'll be able to fight for you on that. So just remember, you may not get everything you're requesting, but you might get some. And here's the good news. If it's obvious, if this is like a really obvious repair that needs to be done, you're probably going to get it because the seller knows that if they relist the house, they're going to have to address it anyway, you know, because it's going to be the next person that sees it. So sometimes obvious, really obvious repairs you'll get. Just depends on how, you know, how you've structured your offer and everything else, but your realtor can walk you through it. All right, now here's the good question. Do you want the sellers to make repairs? So here are some things you want to think about. The first one is that the seller doesn't have to live with the results of the contractor's work. It's a big difference when you're hiring somebody to fix something because you're trying to sell your house and you want to move on, or have a contractor fix your house and you're going to continue to live with that repair. So they may, you know, go for cheap, and the quality of those repairs may not meet your standards. So what do you do? Well, this is where you and your realtor, again, you'll want to strategize on how you want to do repairs. So you can ask for the money in lieu of the repairs and apply that towards your closing costs, and then handle those repairs yourself. You can request that the seller make the repairs, but allow you to select the contractor or meet the contractor. I've done that. I've represented a seller where we wanted to repair the roof before closing, and but the buyers wanted to meet the roofer. They wanted to know that this was going to be a good repair, and worked. They liked the roofer. He gave a really nice warranty, and it was good. Or you can also ask to, you know, lower the asking price of the house. That's another thing you can do. But again, you know, discuss this with your realtor and develop the strategy of your approach. Now, if your loan is a VA loan or an FHA loan, the seller may actually be required to make lender required repairs before closing. Now, this is differently handled. You have your inspection report, and then you have the appraiser that's going to come out. And appraisers for FHA and VA loans are looking for specific things. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the appraiser may also ask for the inspection report. So that will be handled differently. They are actually going to tell the seller what they have to repair. They may not allow the buyer to make that decision. So just know that if you're getting a VA loan or an FHA loan, that there may be repairs that the bank is going to require be done before you can close, and that they have to be done by the seller. So, all right, what do you do if the seller does make repairs? And that's what you guys have decided to do. So you want all the receipts for the work that was done, including any contact information of the contractors. You also want to make sure that it was licensed individuals that handle those repairs. When your realtor submits the amendment requesting repairs, part of that amendment right now states that those repairs have to be done by licensed individuals. So you want to make sure that they were licensed, especially if it's plumbing work or electric work. Were permits required to be pulled? That's really important. If, believe it or not, when you replace a water heater, that needs to be permitted work. So was it permitted? You want to make sure that that got permitted. Are there any applicable warranties for the work? That's really important if you have foundation work. A lot of foundation companies have transferable warranties, or you want to make sure that it is a transferable warranty. If the seller did have any work done was the warranty work transferable? Very important that that be clarified. And then, it's up to you, but you may want to go back to the house and confirm that the work was done the way you wanted it done. So, that's how you can handle that. So basically, I mean, that's it. So your repairs are being done during what's called the option period. This is the time frame in your contract where you can terminate your contract and get out of it. So you want to make sure that all of this is done prior to your the end of your option period. And when I say this, I mean that you have your list and that you have your requests and you have your that you have it all resolved. The seller doesn't necessarily have to have all those repairs done before the end of the option period. They will have to have them done before you close. But you want to make sure you have everything negotiated and stuff before the end of your option period. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I would love to be able to help you. I'm never too busy for questions, and I really appreciate your taking the time to watch my video. Hope this was helpful. Thanks.